I had to ask myself that question. I had to ask myself that question. Peace, peace, peace. And we are live. This is All Things Self Mastery Show, All Things Self Mastery podcast. And I am your mentor, your educator, your sister in all things beautiful, right? Venus, the goddess. I've been teaching self mastery for 15 plus years and have helped hundreds and countless of individuals learn how to master themselves so they can master their reality. So be sure to say, hey, love, hey, don't be shy. I won't bite. I want to acknowledge you. So be sure whether you are viewing me from Facebook, whether you are viewing me from YouTube land, all of you are my family. And of course, here on TikTok, welcome in. This evening, we're going to be diving a little bit deep into how bad do you want it? That is the question. That is the question. As my dear friend, life coach just said, the question scares me. It scares me. So welcome and welcome. And I hope you all are having a wonderful evening. We're going to be getting started really short. We're going to be getting started shortly. So stay tuned for this brief introduction. We're going to dive real deep into it right after this. Let's get into it. Welcome back. Welcome back. This evening, we're going to be talking about, listen, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? That is the question, right? Because we hear the stories. We hear the stories. And so I'm here to just give you a deeper perspective, some deeper perspectives. I'm here to give you, pardon me, some advice. I'm here to just ask, just to encourage you to question some things, right? Pardon me. I'm here to just encourage you to question some things. How bad do you want it? Because we listen, all of us want something, someone, right? No matter what it is, and it's absolutely natural. We want more of more peace, right? More serenity, more serendipities, more opportunities to do whatever it is. We want to forge healthy relationships. Many of us want to, raise our awareness. Many of us want to heighten our conscious awareness. Many of us want to grow. Many of us want to understand a lot that is going on, a lot that has to do with us. Many of us are talking and we're speaking and we having conversation after conversations, and a lot of time it is repetitive. Peace be. How are you, my love? Healthy relationships, right? Healthy relationships, and we are witnessing a lot of dysfunctional beings, right? We're witnessing a lot of dysfunctional beings having the same repetitive conversations, right? And in my 15 plus years of mentoring, right? And after hearing so many stories, very relevant stories, very horrific stories, life altering experiences that they had. Many of us have lived on Depression Street, right? Struggle Avenue, right? Many of us have lived on Victim Lane, right? Many of us have had to endure some horrific things, right? Many of us are still talking about it, right? So, with the hundreds, perhaps thousands of stories that I've heard, all relevant, the one question I always ask before we get started, before we go deeper into me teaching them what self mastery is all about, the number one question I ask them is, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? And a lot of us aren't truly aware that we don't want whatever it is, whoever it is, as bad as we say we do, as bad as we think we do. You want to know why I know that? Because nothing is changing. How many, well, I wouldn't say nothing is changing. Less of what you want the change to be is occurring, right? Because things are ever changing, right? Yes, life goes. Things are ever changing. Nothing really stands still, right? You're ever growing, ever moving. You're either elevating or you're de-elevating. You're either evolving or you're devolving. You're either moving forward or you're moving backward. So, how long do you want to remain in the quote unquote same or like position in life, status in life, financially, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, right? Energetically? We're talking about job wise, career wise, we're talking about opportunity wise. Some of us have never left the square, the circumference of our blocks we grew up on. Yet many of us are saying that what? I want a healthy relationship. I want a romantic relationship. I want my partner to love me, to trust me. I want to be able to travel if I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to be financially what? Free. I want to be able to engage in healthier conversations. I don't want to continually what run on this dysfunctional hamster wheel that many of us are on, this dysfunctional hamster wheel, this repetitive cycle keeping us in the same paradigm, in the same dysfunctional loop over and over and over again. So with all of the stories that I heard, with all of the tears that I've witnessed, perhaps even shared, with all of the engagement and everyone that I've ever mentored, even people who I just listen to and I engage with. The question is, how bad do you want it? How many times are you going to keep repeating the same stories? How many times are you going to keep speaking about the issues and not realizing that it's you? How long are you going to keep in this mental paradigm, this mental paradox where you're not growing, but you're self destructing? How long are we going to keep being disingenuous with ourselves? How bad do you want it? How long are you going to keep deflecting from the undesirable truths? And one of those truths is, as many of us have witnessed, a lot of y'all are the same. A lot of y'all are the very reflections of the toxic, quote unquote, people that you are talking about. Every other month, your friends, your sisters, your brothers, that's my bro, that's my sis. And then the next month, y'all are crucifying each other. Y'all arguing with each other. Y'all throwing each other under the bus, right? Next thing you know, where's the love? Where's the love? We're regurgitating a lot of things. We're having the same conversations, the same redundant conversations. We're having the same surface level conversations, right? We're doing the same things, yet we don't want to be called insane. Pardon me. We don't want to be called insane. When it comes to attracting and manifesting, when it comes to really understanding, for the life of me, somebody is going to have to help me out. I have about two ring lights, right? Let me cut this light on. See, it's a little better, but now I'm a little bit darker on my streaming. Somebody, I need a tech. I really do need a tech. How about I bring it closer? Pardon me. I'm not a techie. I'm trying to figure it out. It's not as bright as I want it to be, right? So let's get back to it. Thank you so much, Epi, for the follow. I appreciate it, right? When it comes to attracting, when it comes to manifesting, when it comes to really getting to the core, right? Thank you, life coach. Thanks for letting me know. Thank you. When it comes to really having or gaining a deeper understanding of the why, because until you understand the core why, the how isn't going to make sense. And all I'm all a lot of us are hearing, whether you like to admit it or not, is more of the same things. We're asking some of the most foolish questions. Some of the most foolish questions. And I've said, many of y'all have heard me say this before. Why are we still talking about who's supposed to be the leader? Who's supposed to submit? It's 50-50, okay, right? Why are we still talking about things in which we really don't have an understanding about? And yet we're regurgitating, we're just becoming an echo chamber. Many of you are just repeating things that you heard without having a deeper understanding of it. This is like reading a book from cover to cover, from front to back, and you still know nothing about the context of the information in the book. In other words, what is it? You're just doing things just to do it. There's no substance, there's no meaning, there's no gaining, there's no transformation being done. There's no receiving, there's no comprehension at all. Right? Supernova, peace, love, how are you? We're having the same conversations. Right? Let's not talk about the social media thugging. It baffles me how so many of y'all are thugs. How so many of y'all like, don't do that, don't play with me, like oh, come on now, like so many of y'all need to stop talking about, stop the cap, like all caps in every context. Stop it. Just because you're from New York don't make you a thug, don't make you about that life. Just because you from LA, or no matter which part of the world that you come from, don't make you a thug. A lot of us continually wear this facade, right? We're continually wearing all of these multi-purpose hats and masks, and we do not understand what's happening with ourselves. How bad do you want it? We're saying we want change. We're saying, right, facts. Mystery, how are you, my love? Right? We're saying we want change. We're saying, oh, I keep it 100. I'm a real man. I'm a real woman. For the love of all things pure, what in the FK is a real man or a real woman? You sound like Pinocchio trying to convince itself that it's not a character in a fictitious book and story. What the hell is a real man? I'm a real man. The last time I checked, right? The last time I checked, those in power don't have to promote and shout out loud that they have power. Those individuals who have respect don't have to keep telling people, you're going to respect me. You're going to respect my gangster. You're going to respect me. I'm a high value this and high. I'm a king and I'm a queen. The last time I checked, those who actually have power is just being and vibrating in their power. Pinocchio sent me. Yeah, like, come on now. At what point do we at what point do we actually sit back and say, you know what? The issue is not everybody else, everything else is not what I keep saying it is. The issue is it's me. It's something about me. It is always going to continue with you. It is always going to continue, and complete with you. How are we not understanding that we are full of contradictions? Just spoke on this. Yes, my love. Peace, bro. How are you, King? How are we making a real difference? How are we saying that we want to change? How are we and not being the change? How do we keep listening and regurgitating and repeating the same stories that we no longer want to live again? I asked the question. Peace, my love. Peace, bro. How bad do you really want it? Many times we need to be reminded. Our reminders need reminded, and that's okay. So this is the part that I'm playing, that I mostly play. I'm here to remind you to start paying attention, because everything that you're doing, everything that you're saying, everything that you do not know is hurting you. What you do not know is hurting you. I don't know what fool ever said that what you don't know won't hurt you. That's a lie. Mwah, Ashe, thank you so much for the gifts. I appreciate it. Let's continually tap the screen. Let's come on now. As long as TikTok is available, let me tell you something about the law of exchange. We're still talking about how bad do you want it. I'm talking about understanding and being intentional about everything that you're doing. The more energy you exchange, the more positive energy you exchange, as well as the more negative energy you exchange, the more you get and a draw to you in return. So whenever there's something being requested and asked of you that is minimum, do it, because it can make and lead to the biggest impacts in your life. I'm trying to told y'all something today. Everything that you do matters, and every decision that you make matters. Every thought that you think matters. Everything that you speak matters. And yet it's so challenging for many of us to sit back and ask ourselves, how bad do you really want it? How many times are you going to keep speaking about the same surface level, superficial, materialistic, surface level things that you're talking about? And then you wonder why you're in the same position. You're wondering why you're in the same paradox. You're wondering why you haven't really moved as far as you wanted to move. Peace, Goddess. How are you, my love? Everything matters. Everything you do matters. Everything you say matters. Negative energy is such a curse. It is. It's sad to hear when it's sad when I hear so many of us talking about, oh, I'm matching energy today. I'm matching energy today. And in the context of that quote, in the context of what they're saying is that, oh, if you go low, I'm going to hell. If you go low, I'm going lower. Do you have any idea what you're saying? Do you have any idea how you're hexing yourself? Do you have any idea how you're making yourself susceptible to entities to inhabit your vessel? Do you understand what you're speaking? Many of you don't even have a clue. And I say this respectfully. Again, we're talking about how bad do you want it. I'm here to give you the undesirable truth. Many of you don't have a clue what language somatics is. Many of you. And you keep talking. What? For some likes from what you think is likes. Many of you don't have a clue about the etymology of words, the frequency of words. Many of you don't have a clue about universal principles and laws. Many of you don't have a clue as to why, the core and catalyst reason as to why you keep on doing and repeating the same things over and over and over again, all while sounding like an oxymoron or a walking contradiction. And in one breath saying, I want change, I'm about love, I'm about peace, especially when it comes down to the religious folks. I want respect. I want loyalty. I want all of these different things. Meanwhile, every month you in controversy. Every month you arguing back and forth with somebody. Every month you acting like a whole thug in these streets. Every month you have to pronounce who you are, right? You have to justify. You keep making excuses after excuses after excuses after excuses after excuses. You keep justifying. It is always going to be other people, other places, other things. How long are you going to keep blaming the systems? How long are you going to keep blaming your current situation on racism? How long are you going to keep blaming your current situation, your financial situation, your spiritual situation, your mental situation? How long are you going to keep attributing and blaming it on what your mother and your father, my mama and daddy? I didn't have this. I didn't have that. They doing this. They are doing that. The last time I checked, that was called being a victim. That was called exuding and exhibiting, right? Of her irresponsibleness. That was related to being unaccountable. Mystery games. Many of us need to shut up and listen for real. We are such oxymorons. I would have to agree with you, Mystery Games. And I appreciate you so much for engaging with me and responding. I love when y'all engage with me. I do love it because this is not just about me. There's no such thing as an individual entity when it comes down to knowing that you are me, I am you, we are we. We need each other in many facets. Many facets. Nothing in nature stands alone. Nothing in nature stands alone. And this is for many of you self proclaimed gurus. So many of you are so easily, speak life with soul. So many of us are so easily swayed. So easily swayed. And we're so quick to jump on the bandwagon because the wheels is your favorite color, right? You don't question why you're jumping on the bandwagon. You want to know, you don't want to know who driving the wagon. You don't want to know where the wagon is going. You don't want to know the what's going to happen. You don't want to know the terrain, the landscape. You don't want to know what you need. You don't want to know the destination. You don't want to know the reason why you're going where you're going. All you know is that they relate to you. And many a times they're relating to your traumas. Many of y'all are so fooled, right? Many of y'all are so fooled because people are literally talking about things that you yet know of, right? This is what makes me a master teacher, a master educator in self mastery. Not because I'm so different from many people, it's because I've studied more than many people. I understand more than many people. I comprehend more than many people. It's not that I am above those people, but it puts me in a position to teach you and to be effectively, and not only teach you, right? Not lead you astray. It don't matter what the topic is, because you can be a profound master, unjust manipulator and still be called a professor. How bad do you want to elevate? There are steps that you cannot skip in life. No, you cannot. What's the saying? What goes up must come down. It's the cycle of life. Jessica, welcome in, my love. Peace, peace, and love, my sister. Peace and infinite love and enlightenment to you, too. It's all about principles. You cannot keep missing steps because guess what? Every time you make a decision, hi, Kimmy. Hi, my beautiful love. Another profound teacher in comedic principles and sciences talking about our history. She done the work so she can teach. She's a master teacher in her field, whether she know it or not, right? And this is also what self-mastery is. You have to do the work for yourself. This way, you won't be bamboozled because someone is also telling you a truth and a lie at the same damn time. Let me say that again. You need to learn and educate yourself so that a person won't bamboozle you, a person won't unjustly, unrighteously, right? Tell a lie and tell a truth to you at the same damn time. You will be aware of it. Ashe, you will be aware of it. What goes up must come down. You cannot afford to keep making steps because let me tell you something. Whether you know it or not, whether you like it or not, we're still talking about how bad do you want it or how bad do you want them. Whatever it is, whether it's money, whether it's wealth, whether it's opportunities, whether it's romance, whether it's sex, no matter what it is that you want to draw into your life, no matter if it's better opportunities, no matter if it's more dysfunction, no matter what it is, we're talking about everything. We're talking about the all. How bad do you want it? Every decision that you make alters your reality. It alters your paradigm. So whether you're ignorant or in the knowing, whether you like it or not, whether you understand it or not, guess what? No one is excluded from universal principles and laws. No one, not even you. So the worst thing you can keep doing for yourself is keep being deaf, dumb, and blind and docile. The worst thing you can do is keep on running on the same hamster wheel you think you're not on. The worst thing you can do is keep on having the same conversations over and over again. The worst thing you can do is keep repeating the same stories. Because let me tell you this, okay? Fun fact: the stories you continually repeat are the stories you continually live. And you wonder why you're still in the same situations. You're wondering why you have not made the progress that you want. The stories you repeat are the stories you continually live. Many of you don't have a clue what even dictates your behaviors. We're talking about growing here. We're talking about how bad do you actually want it. And let me tell you the undesirable truth. Let me tell you an undesirable truth of many, right? Many of the undesirable truths, right? Nothing changes until you change it. The undesirable truth is a lot of you do not want what you want as bad as you think you want it. You don't. You don't want it, whether you know it or not. And society makes us feel bad for wanting it, badly for being ambitious, right? It's about harmony. It's about balance. It's about duality. It's about cause and effect, right? It's about rhythm. It's about correspondence, right? It's about a lot of things that we don't have, that many of us don't have a clue of, right? You know what? I'm such a meticulous person, such an organized person. Like, I see if things aren't straight in a line, you know what? It can, my brain, just leave it alone. I just stop touching it, right? Many of us don't understand these things, right? How can you be, you can also be intelligent and dumb at the same time. You can also, we're talking about polarity, right? Nothing moves until you make moves. Ashe. So when we're talking about manifesting and we're talking about attracting, you have to understand these things. And how can you understand if you don't gain the information? How can you reprogram without new information? It's impossible to do so. We're not getting it. What do you think that's going to change if you never understood the things that you're actually regurgitating? Because for most of us, all we're doing is repeating what somebody else said. That's all we're doing, right? That's all we're doing. But you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. And the worst thing that you can do is not do nothing about it. The worst thing you can do is not do nothing about it. Understanding of these main, I'm gonna give you four main things. I'm gonna give you four main things that you need to understand, that you need to start applying and practicing, right? You're always going to get an ROI. Always. Return on your investment. You invest nothing, you get nothing. You invest in stupidity, you get stupidity. You invest in toxicity, you get toxicity. You invest in maturity, guess what? You're going to mature. You invest in elevating, guess what? You're going to elevate. You only get an ROI according to what you're investing in. What are you doing? When is the last time some of you actually picked up a book and read it through and actually comprehended or wanted to comprehend? When is the last time you went into when is the last time you sat in meditation? How are you talking about you getting all of these downloads that I'm so spiritual? Just because you look to the left or look to the right, just because you are pretending very well, just because you know how to perform, don't make you an actor. And it damn sure don't make you the star of the show. A lot of us are pretending. Too many parents repeating everything. Yes, mystery. Lack of understanding. What is going on? Like, it only tells me that you don't want whatever you want or whoever you want as bad as you want. Because if you did, if you did, no matter the circumstances, come what some people call hella high water, baby, let me tell you something. You going to get there. And ain't nothing or nobody can stop you. How bad do you want it? We do not understand who we are, let alone understand the power that we actually have. We don't understand it. Because if you did, let me tell you something. Everything about you would be different. Everything. The way you speak, the way you talk, the way you think, the way you laugh, who and what you engage, the conversations, the way you stand, the way you prostrate yourself, the confidence that you have, right? It changes. Everything changes. We are not our circumstances. Ashe, life coach. Peace, Bruce. How are you? Everything changes, right? But yet we want to keep doing what? Having the same foolish conversations, keep pretending. And you wonder whether you know it or not, you're self-destructing. One of our primary purposes as living organisms, as living beings, and this is why I say you need to educate yourself. You don't have to be a master philosopher in all of these different things. However, I encourage you to at least learn a little bit, because they all have everything to do with your what and your why and your when and your where and your how. All of it. But we know nothing about our biology. We know nothing about chemistry. We know nothing about universal principles and laws. We don't know enough about these things. And this is why we keep repeating the same patterns over and over, year after year, month. Do you know how many miserable people that you are entertaining that you think that are happy? Right? Do you understand that? As living organisms, as infinite beings, one, and I would say your primary function and purpose is to evolve, is to expand. And guess what? When you understand polarity, which is a universal principle, when you understand that there is no one without the other, when you understand that, you know that if you're not doing this, you're doing that. If you're not going there, you're going there. If you're not moving forward, you're moving backward. If you're not going up, you're going down. And so many of us are not aware that we are self-destructing. Everything as above, so below. Everything must first happen internally, then externally. But a lot of us are too busy focusing on 25% of who we are, the physical part. So you're very limited in your understandings. You're very limited in your knowings, your beliefs. You're very limited in your core reasons as to why. You're very limited, so which means you go no further. This is your cap. This is your ceiling. If you are not elevating, expanding, the rate in which you do so, that varies. You are devolving, you are imploding, you are self-destructing. And many of us are talking about, oh, you're self-destructing, and you have not a clue what it really is. You don't. Because if you did, many of you would shut your mouth. You would shut your mouth. You know why I say that? Because many of you are cursing yourself. You're cursing others. And you're cursing the very people who you say you love with your foolish tongue. What do they say? Life and death is in the tongue, right? Even though nothing ever dies conceptually, right? But when you understand that the polarities and the spectrums of things, there is no one without the other, right? Many of us are not willing and open to receive happiness and joy and nuances and embrace the unknown, because all you keep thinking, doing, and being is on one side of the spectrum. You want all the good without the quote unquote bad, even though that's subjective to me. But let's speak on a monetary tone. Let's speak on an even plain and layman's term. You want all the joy without the suffering, right? You want all the highs and not the lows. That's imbalance, babies. Some of our misery is self-inflicted wrong choices. Ashe. Jessica says, detachment is so important to obtain this discipline. Ashe. Many of you are so concerned. Many of you are so concerned with being liked by the very same entities and people who are adding to your destruction. Many of us are so disingenuous, so unauthentic, so unoriginal, so powerless, so powerless. Yet you poking out your chest like you a silverback. Sit down, sit down, right? You you rah-rahing, right? You beating your chest like you a silverback. You beating your chest like you King Kong. You beating your chest like you Mufasa. It is nothing wrong with wanting to be a king, wanting to be a king, wanting to be the silverback, wanting to be the god, goddess, whatever term that you want to call, be it, right? It's easy. It's easy not to take accountability. It's easy to not have integrity, right? It's easy to go real low, right? That's what many of us are doing, right? It's easy to be unaccountable, right? Some of us want to be accepted so bad by the most unhealthy people, places, and things. How are you powerful when you still go into a job, a workplace every single day, and you have to fight to smile, to be authentic? You have to fight not to bust somebody up over their head. A lot of every day we're bitching, we're moaning, we're complaining. And we don't even realize what we're doing to ourselves. Yes, Mufasa. How are you powerful? How do you understand who you really are if you still playing checkers and not chess? How are you the king or queen with no kingdom or no queendom? How are you so intelligent yet you're so ignorant at the same time? Right? How are you still in the same position? How are you still devolving? How? This is why we're talking about how bad do you want it. Many of us don't want it as bad as you think you do. Shantae, how are you, my love? Welcome in. How bad do you want to forge a healthy relationship? How bad do you want to be, actually want to be intelligent? Just because you have information don't mean you're intelligent. There's a difference between being intellectual and being intelligent. Just because you have information don't make you wise. Just because you speak of righteousness don't make you righteous. Just because you sound smart don't mean you're ignorant. Many of you are so easily fooled and swayed, just persuaded. And you don't even realize what you actually doing. Y'all are listening to people who are telling you lies and truths in the same breath, and you're so ignorant, you don't know which way to go. How can you create a blueprint without information? Tell me how. You don't even know where to start, let alone where you're going to complete the project. How, Sway? How? Right? We're talking about changing the dynamics and the trajectory of your reality. How do you expect to do that if you do not understand you don't want what you want as bad as you think or speak that you want it? Knowledge is power. Information is power. However, it can still make you powerless if you're not applying it. You can still be powerless. Information and knowledge is power, but it only becomes powerful when you apply it. That means that you have to, at some point, stop doing the shit that you're doing. That means at some point that you have to make a conscious, unconscious decision that, you know what? Something has to change. and admit that you don't know as much as you think you do and that you need assistance. But we say we're in our right minds. What does that mean? Everything is so much deeper than what you currently know it is. When we say a person that's in their right mind, that means righteous. How are you in your right, righteous mind and you keep doing things that is unrighteous? You keep being a part of conversations and relationships and environments that are unrighteous, not conducive to your elevation. No analysis paralysis. Apply the info. Ashe. Appreciate you, Shantae. Right? How bad do you want it? How bad do you want a healthy relationship? How bad do you want? How bad do you want it, even if it is material gain? How bad do you actually want it? And then having an understanding that all avenues that lead to it isn't always the best avenues, the most healthiest avenues that you need to take. Because there is no one without the other. So you have to, at some point, make the conscious decision that you want to be more aware and intentional about things that you're doing because it matters. Many of us are operating like we're powerless. Oh, let me tell you something. This saddens me a little bit. I almost want to cry. Like I feel the water. I feel the energy. I feel the ancestors in the universe. It saddens me that many of us are so powerless. So powerless, but you are so powerful. Do you not know who you are the descendants of? Royalty, greatness, power. We were navigating ships with our minds. We were moving elements. We were master alchemists. We were birthed from divine love. We are supernatural beings, magical beings. There's no word that has ever been created that can literally help me to physically, verbally describe to you how powerful you are and to see so many of us weak, defeated, chasing shit that don't matter, talking about shit that don't matter, slaves, mentally and physically. So many of us. That saddens me. And even worse, you don't want to do nothing about it. You don't want it as bad as you because it sounds, it's enough for you just to the sound, just to hear yourself say it. I'm a queen. I'm a king. I'm a god. I'm a goddess. I'm supernatural. I'm a non-ether being. I'm a spiritual being. Whatever word you choose to use, it just sounds good to you. And it's just enough. It's enough. Or so you think. As a South African, I really feel your emotion. Man, we were powerful. We still are powerful. It's just dormant because every decision you make to not invest, this is an alignment shop. This every decision that you make to not evolve and elevate, you are literally feeding the entities. You are literally feeding the beings. You are literally allowing those who were set in place to cipher your power and your energy. You're literally saying yes. Continually suck the very energetic essence out of me. And you won't even fight back. Yet you are fighting your brothers and sisters. You're fighting your mothers and your fathers. You're fighting those who want to educate you. You're fighting those who don't want to cripple you. You're fighting those who literally courage enough to tell you the undesirable truths. And one of them are, some of us are ugly inside. Right? How far we have fallen. And for so many reasons, now the universe and nature and the powers that be is stepping in. Don't find yourself on the opposite spectrum of things. Don't find yourself, because if you think you're not going to be the next TD Jakes, if you think you're not going to be the next Sean Puffy Combs, if you think you're not going to be the next whoever it is, the next government system, if you think you're not going to be the next one that is going to be exposed, no matter the level of the exposure, if you think you're not going to be called to stand and be held accountable for every decision you ever made, whether you were ignorant to it or not. Who in their right mind wants to keep repeating the same grade in life? Who? Right? We're literally fighting each other. We literally banging on each other, as some of y'all say. We crucifying each other. We're literally preaching 4B and 4FOB and all of these B's and all of these decentralizations and all of these stay away from him, and you no longer want to procreate. What are you talking about? So many of us are so hurt, so overwhelmed, so discouraged, so hopeless. And you fighting everybody else but yourself. Your lower self, that is. You're literally fighting responsibility. You're fighting accountability. You're fighting elevation. You're fighting growth. You're fighting. Why is it so comfortable, so easy, so effortless for us to fight one another? For us to just to shame one another and crucify one another and defame and defeminize and emasculate one another? Why is it so easy for you to cancel one another? And you know why nothing is, do you know why things are not changing as many of us who are speaking, preaching, being, and influencing this foolishness? It's because you lack understanding. You don't know that every time you shame him or her, you shame you. You don't know that every time you crucify him or her, you crucify you. What they say? When you dig a grave, baby, you better dig too. When you dig a grave, you better dig too. Because one of them is most certainly for you. How are we laughing at women and men in accepting, acknowledging, right? Egging on a person that literally holds the highest contempt for themselves? All because you're not willing to do anything about your brokenness, your sadness. At first, it was all men. Now it's all women. At first, it was the system. Now it's not the system. At first, it was this. It was all of everything except for you. Do you not understand who's in the middle? Who's the common denominator? You can teach, you can inspire, you can motivate without shaming. How is it acceptable to condone a man or a woman literally feeling so much joy, getting so much joy and pleasure out of hurting someone else, dragging someone else, quote unquote, boasting and bragging about these things. And many of y'all are kiki and ha 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 and just again jumping on a bandwagon. And what you really don't know is that only thing you doing is doing the same thing to you. What you do to them, you do to you, right? Because we're not aware as much as we think we are aware. Awareness is a prerequisite for attracting and manifesting. Awareness, right? If you're not aware, where do you think you're going? If you don't have the address, how are you getting to the destination? GPS won't be GPS unless it was first programmed to do what it do. Do you not realize you're still running under the same programs? How do you think your behaviors is going to change if you don't know the first thing about neuroscience? If you don't know the first thing about mental conditioning? If you don't know the first thing about neuroplasticity? If you don't know the first thing about behavioral analytics, analysis, how do you think you're going to change your behaviors? How do you think you're going to change the dynamics of anything if you know nothing about universal principles and laws? You're not aware of any of these things. You surface level. You surface level. Information is key. Information is key. Information is also a prerequisite for attracting and manifesting, pulling towards you more of what you actually want, need, and or desire instead of less of what you want, need, and or desire. We have to come to this understanding. Alignment is about positioning your stuff. There is you cannot speak about alignment without also knowing that the first part of that is getting to positioning. Alignment requires your affirmative action, right? And cultivating, right? And cultivating requires your consistency. Understanding, when I say gaining information and positioning yourself, if you are still talking the same talk, listening to the same foolishness or garbage, right? Nothing is going to really change. You're just feeding more of that which you claim you don't want no longer. What you feed will gain power, and what you starve will lose power. I want us to gain a deeper understanding of that. Many of you who are familiar with me know that that is something that I constantly say. What you feed will gain power, and what you starve will lose power. This means whether you're doing it directly or indirectly, consciously or unconsciously, knowingly or unknowingly, right? And you can easily tell what you're feeding the most by the receipts of your reality. And if you're transparently honest with yourself, Like I was years ago, I was ugly inside. I had to be transparently honest with myself that I was doing things out of desperation. I was doing things unknowingly, right? I was making poor choices, unhealthy choices. I was doing things that continually added to my self-destruction, right? I had to realize and tell myself and be completely honest and transparently honest with myself, right? About a lot of things. I had to realize, I had to be transparently honest with myself that, hey, Venus, you are really depressed. You really suffer with depression and anxiety. Yes, there are a variety of reasons as to why, all relevant, right? I had to speak the undesirable truth that I wasn't as intelligent as I thought I was. That's just because I was loud didn't make me righteous, right? That just because I looked good physically, just because I dressed my insecurities up, didn't mean that I was confident. I had to tell myself the undesirable truths that, yeah. And so a lot of us have to be this, a lot of us have to be willing to be completely transparently honest with ourselves. We're not happy. We're not happy. We're actually miserable. Some of us are actually miserable, right? You're not okay. You're sad. A lot of y'all are sad. A lot of a lot of people are complacent. A lot of people are double-minded, unstable, very ignorant to a high degree. A lot of us are so confused. We don't know if we coming or if we going. A lot of us are have become master pretenders. You can look like what not is, but it doesn't make you be. Doesn't mean that you are. I used to make depression look fabulous. I made my insecurities look fabulous. I made my low self esteem look fabulous. I made my ignorance look blissful. No pun intended. Pun intended. Right? I made my self destruction look glorious. When I tell you I used to fake the funk, you could never tell. You could never tell. But no matter how many clothes I put on, no matter how expensive it was, no matter how many bags and shoes I bought, no matter who I knew, no matter what, I was still self destructing. I was still increasingly falling. And guess what? What you don't face compounds. What I didn't know is that every time I chose not to do something about it, I was indirectly feeding it. So my depression came stronger. My anxiety became stronger. My foolishness and stupidity became broader, right? It was like everything sped up and it was advanced until points where I just like, when they say all I saw is red rum. Some of y'all saw the shining red rum, red rum, red rum, red rum. It's MURDER, everything. All I saw was red. It got bad. It got bad to the point where the only way I knew how to make the pain go away, the pain stop, the anguish. I didn't want to be responsible. I didn't want to be accountable. I didn't want to be a mother. I didn't want to be Venus. I didn't want to be. The only way I knew at that time to make it all stop is by, at that time, if I transitioned prematurely, if I just gave it up. I'm talking about. So when I hear people talking about they ready to jump off the bridge, I deeply understand that because I attempted twice. It wasn't my time. So when I tell you I teach self mastery from a place of relatability and understanding, right? Because I know and I see, I sense, I see, not talking about reflect. I'm not talking about reflecting. I'm talking about seeing internally a lot of, a lot of us going down that path. And you do not really understand what you're getting yourself into. Right? Thank you, abstract mind. We do not really understand what we're getting ourselves to. Let's let's tap tap. Let's keep tapping. Let's keep tapping. Let's get it together. So alignment is about positioning, right? We're still talking about how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? You don't maintain what you don't cultivate. Thank you for the hearts. I see them coming up. Thank you for the participation. That's how you participate, and it is the only thing I would request from you when I'm live is to just, tap, give some likes, give some, you can share it, right? The participation matters, the effort matters, the energy exchange matters. Remember, it's all about an energy exchange, right? You do not get to maintain what you don't cultivate. This is why some of us, the sooner we get it, the sooner we lose it. And it's like a ping pong effect with everything. 1 minute you up, 1 minute you down, 1 minute you up, 1 minute you down, 1 minute you got it, 1 minute you don't, 1 minute you got it, 1 minute you don't. That's unnatural. That's imbalance, right? It should not be a ping pong effect. You have to cultivate, which means you have to feed. You have to be intentional. You have to be in the knowing of what and who you're feeding, because that is what is going to grow, gain power. So if you're wondering why depression is kicking some of your asses, if you're wondering why anxiety, if you're wondering why you still talking like you defeated, if you're wondering why the opportunities that you want, need, and or desire isn't coming to you, if you're wondering why, to so many questions, if you're wondering why that person hasn't entered your life, among the vast amount of reasons, alignment is what you need to understand. You are unaligned as it regards the people, places, and things that you actually want. And in order for you to attract or manifest, in order for you to magnetize whatever it is that you want, need, or desire, or whoever it is, you need to have not only the information, but you need to learn how to get into position. Cause and effect. If you want different effects in your life to be manifested, come to fruition, you have to be the catalyst to the causation. You want different, cause different. You can't keep causing the same thing and think you're going to get different effects. It doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. How many times you going to keep writing in red when you saying, I want to write in blue now? Unless you actually put down a red pen and pick up a blue pen, guess what? The words are going to be in red, red brown. I hope y'all understand that. Do you want whatever and whoever you want as bad as you think you do? That's the question I encourage all of you to ask while I wrap this self-mastery lesson up this evening. How bad do you want a healthy, romantic, cosmic, fulfilled partnership, relationship, husband, wife? How bad do you want to grow and elevate? How bad do you want to explore and experience the world? How bad do you want it? Because a person that wants something as much as they want and need the elements to thrive in this realm, they don't make justification, rhyme, reasons, or excuses. They become aware, they acknowledge, right? They accept, fully accept whatever it is, their current situation. They take accountability, right? They then assess the situation. They acquire the new information. Remember, we can't form new behavior patterns without new information. And then the last thing, the seventh thing, is they apply. These are the seven principles, the seven keys to self mastery that I teach, right? And a lot of these things that I'm teaching, I'm going to be going through in depth. We're going to get deeper in my Rise of a Goddess VIP Academy. Shout out to all of my Rise of a Goddess members, right? I specifically, intentionally created a virtual university, so exclusively for women. No shade to the men. I love my brothers. Exclusively for the women, though, so you can not only be a part of a righteous sisterhood, right? Those who are liked and like-minded, who are on your journey. We need each other. And unless you invest in yourself, right? You have to question what returns are you going to get, right? I also have All Things Self Mastery Book Club, where we dive deeper into a lot of the things that I'm speaking about right now. We're covering the Kabbalion Hermetic principles, which are just universal principles and laws. It's beautiful. I get so excited when I teach. I get so excited when I read. I am a lover of information and education. I am a student and a teacher, always. Because remember, there is no one without the other. I serve, I serve, and I serve. And in return, I am served. Do you understand? In closing, if you are interested in one-on-one mentorship guidance, feel free to reach out to me. And you can do that by clicking the link in my bio. Because another thing that I infinitely know, this indisputable fact is that nothing happens by luck, coincidence, happenstance, or just because. Everything that happens in life and with you happens for divine purposes. You are always where you position yourself to be. You have a lot to do with who you are currently, where you are currently, where you're going, and who it is you wish and desire to become. And that should be a higher version of you. And that is why I'm here. So if you are ready to take that next step, join Rise of a Goddess University. If you're ready, only if you're ready. Or you can join All Things Self Mastery Book Club. But if you join Rise of a Goddess, just know that you automatically gain access to All Things Self Mastery Book Club. Right? Only if you're ready. In this, give me 1 minute, TikTok. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Infinite gratitude. I give honor. I give honor, acknowledgement, right? And reverence to the all, the infinite source of creation, our ancestors, the universe, nature, all things above, all things below, and everything in between. Infinite gratitude. And thank you for all of you, my YouTube family, Facebook family, who have joined me, participated. Infinite gratitude for you. Infinite gratitude. Thank you so much for the likes, the hearts, the taps, the comments, the engagement. Thank you so much for being you. Thank you so much for choosing to elevate. Thank you so much for choosing you. I love you. I appreciate you. And make sure you are following me. Subscribe. It's absolutely free. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, All Things Self Mastery, my TikTok family, my Facebook family. Make sure you follow me. I come before you every Saturday. If I don't have another engagement or something else that I need to do, every Saturday I teach a lesson, everything to do with self-mastery. We talk about metaphysics, we talk about relationships, we talk about emotional intelligence, we talk about brain and heart coherence, we talk about quantum physics, we talk about multiple sciences, anything that have to do with self-mastery that is going to help you master self, therefore mastering your reality, putting you in a position to become the magnet to everything and everyone you want, need, and or desire. I am your girl, your sister, your auntie, sometimes your mama, Venus, a Goddess Self Mastery Mentor. I will see you all next Saturday. Mwah. Gratitude, my love. You're very welcome. Okay, so we are